This is a trike with cannons on its head. This right here is a turkey that can shoot missiles out of its butt. This right here is just an average American high schooler. In this video, I have 100 days to complete this overhaul mod, Pugnacia. I have a whole bunch of goals that I'd like to complete in this 100 days, but I'll explain them as we get through the video. And make sure you guys stick around to the end because we have a special guest that comes in and basically ruins everything. Before we get into it, make sure you guys go check out some of the hottest merch in the game. Check the links below. This stuff right here, the dragon hoodie, right here, right here, right here. Well, Dodo gang, I'd like to welcome you to my 100 days in ARKs overhaul mod, Pugnacia. Welcome homies and homies to another ARK modded adventure. We are playing on the map Valguero. I wake up and scratch my arm only to realize that I'm red, like completely red. In this mod, when you create your character, you can change the color of your skin and your hair to kind of make it look crazy and however you like. And I basically look like a sunburnt Oompa Loompa. As you can already see, I have already died once, but let's not talk about that. Apparently sharks are not your friend. Oh, no, it's swimming fast. Megalodons are fast here? Or is that just fast? Ah! I then bump into a green-skinned man. Hey, what's up, greenie boy? Wait, who's that? This is Mr. Pineapples. This is recorded on a server that's open to my Patreon members, Twitch subscribers, and YouTube members. Anyways, I begin this experience in a typical fashion by punching some trees to gather some wood. I wanted to set up a starter base just in these little 2 islands over here, which means we need to cross this treacherous waters to get there, hopefully safely. Once I pop my head out of the water and reach the land, I realized something. No way did I just turn around and like... What an idiot. Yeah, so somehow I turned around and didn't even make it across to the other side. Don't worry, we soon enough attempted this again. Only this time, I ran out of stamina. Oh crap, I ran out of stamina. Leaving us wide open to be attacked by a shark. The next time we spawned in, we got kind of lucky and spawned on the island that I wanted to base up on. I then met my twin brother. Hey! I was so excited, I smacked him in the face. Oh, I checked my inventory and noticed that we were given tools to start with. So with that, I started gathering a whole bunch of early game resources. Then I crafted up a spear so I could start doing some killing. It's day 2 already and I don't even know what happened to day 1. Oh yeah, that's right. Next, I begin crafting up a whole bunch of my chivies. This is a quick way to get a whole bunch of easy experience in the early game. Also, I had auto engrams running currently, and whenever you leveled up your character, you completely lagged out the server, and the engrams it unlocks kind of messes with the progression in the start of this playthrough, which we end up fixing a little bit later. But after pumping a whole heap of levels into ourselves, and almost crashing the entire server, we begin trying to do something actually productive in this playthrough, like taming our first creature. You see, some vanilla creatures in this mod are passive tames, like this trike. We now have a trike, but we don't have enough resources to make a trike saddle. So I had to go kill an innocent creature. Maybe like this big fat pig. No, I'm not referring to mummers. I'm talking about this Phiomia. Now, instead of poking them in the butt with a spear, instead I tamed it. This way, this innocent fatty would stand still while I try and kill it. It took too long, so we got the S+ multi-tool out and we killed it that way. But then this did give us a whole bunch of hide, enough to make a saddle for this trike. We have a trike, we have a saddle, now we can gather some berries and stone apparently. Then we place down a whole bunch of foundations to create our starter base. This little island area that we're building on is typically known to have some pretty safe and chilled out dinosaurs here. That's why I like building here at the start of any modded playthrough to avoid getting killed off by something crazy. This area has no metal nodes, so we have to run around collecting all these river rocks to try and get a little bit of metal out of them. We didn't get much, but this will be a start for us. Next, I had another person on the server come and visit us. I wanted to add them to an alliance, but first I had to make and name my own tribe. I named my tribe the Subscribe Tribe, and whilst we're on the subject, please hit that subscribe button. I then named our alliance the Dodo Gang. You know, like one of my favorite hoodies from my merch shop. Since I was currently streaming on Twitch, my Twitch chat asked to name this trike. They asked to name it Laxative. I don't really know why. No, that's a joke. Its name is Lax. Day 3, whilst I was minding my own business at base, I heard a strange noise in the distance. What the frick? Is that the Pugnacia boat? I was met by a couple other people from the community. They could jump kind of crazy high. They taught me how to do it by unlocking this ascension thing, which also gave us a whole bunch of tools that gave us extra resources and also gave us the ability to jump really damn high. Jump. Okay, dokie. This was one of the consequences of having auto engrams on. We end up turning it off a little bit later, but whilst we have it, we do take advantage of it. Anyways, I want to start working towards getting ourselves a flyer. And a good early flyer is a Pteranodon. But to be able to fly on the back of a Pteranodon, we need some chitin in order to make its saddle. Destroying this bug should give us the amount of chitin that we need. Now we just need to find ourselves a Pteranodon that we can tame. Are PTs passive tames? Does anybody know? We soon discover the answer to that question is yes, they are indeed passive tames. We had successfully tamed this Pteranodon, but we didn't have quite enough hide to be able to make the saddle for it. There was a trike nearby, so I befriended it with some berries and unfriended it quicker than Mr. Beast unfriended Ava Chris Tyson. And just like that, we hit the bright blue skies, bumped into some other community members building up their base, and then began exploring the map to see what else we could discover. Found a spot with a whole bunch of metal, harvested up a whole bunch, and then continued on back to base so we could start cooking up a bunch of this metal. Day 4, we went out searching for our forever base location. Whilst we went out looking, I thought we'd stop and chop up this dead dolphin. You get a whole bunch of spoiled meat and some organic polymer from it. I forgot about those freaking dodos, conflagrant dodos. This little dodo could have possibly messed us up. Luckily, we escaped in time. Searching for a base location on a map like this is difficult. Not because there's no good spot, but because there's way too many good spots to build a base. This cave has always interested me, but I decided against it. There's definitely somewhere else we could build that's a little bit better. Once exploring, we came across a level 1624 Pteranodon. Our current Pteranodon isn't a very high level, so this one here would make a great alternative to what we have. But just as I was about to fully tame it, it flew off. No! Come back down. Yes. There we go. With this newly tamed Pteranodon, of course I had to ride this one instead of our old one. Hey, buddy. I don't have any balls on me right now, so... I then dropped off our blue Pteranodon back at base and continued on our journey. It's now day 5 and I'm still on the hunt for a forever base location. But while I started exploring, I went and checked this area because there's typically beaver dams around here. There just doesn't seem to be any currently. I'm assuming that's because there's a few people on the server and maybe they got to them first. Valguera as a map is pretty unique in itself. Like this chalk hill biome is pretty damn cool. And I do like the idea of building a base up high so we can look out on this view. It just becomes pretty hard making a decision sometimes. But for some inspiration, I went to go check out some of the other people's bases on the map. Like this person here decided to build inside this castle. They already had a lot going on, including some of the crop plots and a whole bunch of forges pumping. Then Pineapples built in another castle location in the chalk hills. Everyone's in the ruins? Oh, wow. It wasn't until the very start of the next day that I settled on a base location. I really like this space since it's nice and open, and I'd like to build something overlooking this to get the nice view. Before we start this build, we're gonna have to clear out this area as well as collect a bunch of resources. I need to decide on a nice place to set this place down. I'd planned on setting it down right here, but since the overlook was the most important part to me, I decided to build this first. Then this way I could just build it backwards for the body of the base. I then had to fly back to my old base, pick up some things, including the crafting benches that we had pre-made, and of course lax our trike. I suppose we couldn't forget this Pteranodon either. And with all of that secured, we came back to our new base location where I built this ARKs bench. This is a mod that helps us build things so much easier. Instead of having to craft all the foundations and building pieces one by one, I can just place stuff in as long as I had the required resources. Anyway, here's a quick, satisfying montage. This is the basic outline of the base that we're going to work with. I just now need to fill it on in. Yes, this does in fact look a little wild, but hey, it works. And this is my own personal base design. You can use it if you like. Or not. You might not want to. Anyways, I had to go AFK for a little bit and force my stream to stare at this the entire time. I'm sure they enjoyed it because they were still there after. This is only the basic footprint that we used. Obviously, we're going to put some walls up and stuff later. But for now, we went ahead and placed down a bunch of these crafting benches. And then I had to make a quick trip to the snow so I could collect some juicy oil so I could craft this soul terminal to keep my dinos safe. Next, I went ahead and placed down these Pugnacia elemental crop plots. Now, at this time of this playthrough, I had no idea that we weren't actually supposed to be able to unlock these just yet. So having these crop plots was a little bit OP for the early game. But I've been screwed by this game so many times that it's nice to have a little bit of an unfair advantage. Anyways, I don't really want to build my base out of stone. That's why I'm kind of leaving it just as the foundations for now. But in order to make it out of the materials that I do want, I'm going to need an Akatina. So I yoinked one out of the redwoods, brought it back to base, and began smacking it in the head with Thor's hammer. Did I just kill it? Yeah. I did just kill it. We quickly discovered Thor's hammer is quite damn powerful. So I raced back to the redwoods to go and find another snail. Only this time it was a little bit harder to find one. We searched the redwoods for quite a while until we finally located a little snail. Second time's lucky. I bring this one straight back to base. Then once again, I smack it with Thor's hammer. This time only once. Let it heal up a little bit. Smack it again and successfully knock it out. Also, we got a bunch of this honey cake from killing things. I don't know exactly what drops it, but we were killing things earlier and we got some. Whilst we waited for the snail to grow up, we went and harvested a whole bunch of berries, specifically trying to get ourselves some narco berries. We're going to need a whole bunch of narco berries because in this mod, the tranquilizers are pretty expensive to make. As night fell, the snail finally fully tamed up. So I placed it inside this soul ball, then placed it into the soul terminal so it could start passively generating us some Akatina paste. Next, I crafted this thing called the Pugnacia seed package. And this is exactly exactly what you think it is, just a package full of seeds. Since we have a whole bunch of new seeds, I figured we might as well place down a whole bunch of these Pugnacia crop plots. With these crop plots, we don't have to ever supply them with water or even sunlight, and they already come with a massively boosted greenhouse effect. I think this unicorn poop has something to do with it. Narco berries is probably going to be our most important thing to grow right now, especially as we start taming a whole bunch of creatures. I then took off to go and head on an adventure. I then stopped by these guys' base and saw that they've made quite a bit of progress. I kind of thought of a cheesy way to skip some of the progress in this game would be to go and try and get ourselves a wyvern. Hey, it wasn't me, it was my Twitch chat that suggested it, okay? We then came down to the wyvern trench and searched all the nest places, but ultimately we didn't find any eggs. Well, any that were kind of worth it, that is. Not even in the ice wyvern trench. There was nothing really here. My chat did mention that it's kind of rare to find some eggs down here anyway. So with that knowledge, we just made our way back to base. It had been a bit of time, so there was a bunch of narco berries that we could harvest. Honestly, I thought it would be a little bit faster than this. We didn't really have a super productive day, but we did make some forges in the end. Day 10 and we find ourselves in the redwoods completely naked. I'll probably fix that up eventually, but right now we need to collect a bunch of resources, specifically wood and a whole bunch of metal while we're here, I guess. Obviously, so we can start cooking this all up back at base. Whilst we waited for that to cook up, I stood here and just stared at Lax's butt. Trike butt. Anyways, it was probably a good idea to give myself a haircut. We have been looking a little bit scruffy. Of course, I gave myself my traditional cut with the dreadlocks and my mustache. Also, I made myself a full set of armor, so yeah, we're not running around naked anymore. We're looking fresh to death. Next, I found myself along this beach, saw this aberrant ovis, and shoved some cake up its butt. It had a friend nearby as well, so up the butt the cake goes. It's time that we start taming a few creatures. In Pugnacia, there's a lot of creatures that can be extremely helpful around base. Any kind of creature that's named Conflagrant, like this Maywing here, also has an additional ability. I just gotta try and tame it without my PT trying to kill it. No. Passive. No. Oh, what's the freaking thing for? Chill out. Now that my stupid bird pushed this Conflagrant Maywing away, we had to try and knock it out underwater. Unfortunately, I couldn't stick around very long because there was an angry Spino killing everything around us. I made a quick escape because I don't like dying. It's not fun. When I returned, there was another Conflagrant Maywing right here. It was a much lower level, but I don't really need a high level one. And it only took one of these strong Pugnacia Trank arrows to knock it out. It did take a nervously long time for it to tame though. I mean, anything could have came by and murdered me and this wannabe yellow platypus. I brought this Maywing back to base and threw it out. You see, Conflagrant Maywings have the ability to work kind of like a tech generator. They can generate electricity in a certain area depending on their melee stats. Once you command it to turn its electricity on, it'll do this thing and yeah, everything that requires electricity now is electrified. Which means we can place down this fabricator and not have to worry about putting any fuel in it. Those ovises that we tamed earlier, I decided to throw them out and try and breed them together. I quickly find out you can't breed an aberrant version with a vanilla version. And with this utter disappointment, sacrifices had to be made. Next, I went out with the goal of trying to tame something. I don't know what exactly, but I'm sure we'll find something. I remembered from the last time I played Pugnacia that Featherlights were pretty good tames. Specifically, these prodigious Featherlights, because they're rideable without a saddle, and apparently they hit pretty hard. I just had to try and tame it without all of my stuff dying. So kill my Featherlight! Oh, you dog. Or the Featherlight dying as well. Try to tame that Featherlight. Somehow this Featherlight survived that Rex attack. Wait, is that the Featherlight? Yeah. This thing was a little bit tricky to tame as it just wouldn't land, and I couldn't seem to get a bowler to hit it. I'm really not that good at throwing these bowlers. I really thought that one would have landed. This thing is annoying. I then got my crossbow out and tried to shoot it, not knowing that it was a passive tame. It's a passive tame. Well, until that very moment. I kept just watching this Featherlight fly around, and I kind of just gave up. Surely there's other things to tame out in this world. I then found a beaver dam, and then I noticed there was a whole bunch of scary dinos just up the ways from it. What the crap is happening over there? Holy salmon spawn. And yes, there is a whole lot of salmon spawning in this little pool here. Day 12 and we're still out here trying to find something to tame. We found this level 1624 Spino and attempted to knock it out. I got it stuck here on this little ledge so I could try and knock it out this way, but it made its way up. Our PT was getting absolutely munched on. This fight kinda wasn't worth it. We ended up leaving. Instead, I returned back to base, harvested a bunch of berries out of our crop plots, and made as many of these Pugnacia strong trank arrows as possible. Not a lot. We returned down to this beach and we found another one of these Featherlights. There's this Featherlight. I just want to know if it is actually a good tame or not. It's not the highest level, but we're soon going to find out whether it's worthwhile or not. Quick passive tame completed, and we now own a Featherlight. I jumped straight on the back of this cute little bird, and I wanted to see how much damage it did. Ooh. Okay, it's a killer. It's a killer. Indeed, this cute little parrot is quite the killer. This max level Conflagrant Dodo stood no chance against us. With this, I basically just spent the rest of this day killing as many dinos as possible, since a bunch of creatures can drop certain items that we could use, and I kind of wanted to assert my dominance on this world. The very next day, my stream chat suggested that I should tame a scorpion. Apparently, these scorpions deal a ton of torpor and can be great for taming some of these really strong creatures. We were getting chased by two. I managed to knock one out. Now we just have to deal with the other. Thankfully, these Pugnacia trank arrows are really potent. I then went ahead and fed this scorpion some spoiled meat and decided I might as well tame the other scorpion as well. I decided to leave render, so hopefully they would tame up with nothing dangerous coming to kill them. Next, I needed to get myself some silica pearls so I could make some electronics. I didn't know a good location to be able to get some, so Mr. Pineapple showed me the way. What, like right here? Follow. Okay. I shall follow. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, heaps. I managed to dive down and grab a whole bunch of silica pearls whilst I was here, and I came really close to drowning. We almost ran out of oxygen just trying to make it to the surface. Whew, that was close. Whole bunch of silica pearls acquired. We can now make ourselves some electronics. What do we need them for right now? Well, I don't know. Probably nothing right this second, but we'll definitely get use out of it eventually. After that short little journey, I went to go pick up our scorpions, only to see a whole pack of hyaenodons trying to kill one. Wow. Stupid freaking hyaenodons. Unfortunately, one of these scorpions died. One did survive, but it did just so happen to be the weaker one of the two. I tamed it up anyway because, I mean, we might as well. Took it straight back to base, placed a saddle on its back. Then I went out to go and see if there was anything worthwhile to try and tame. I couldn't find anything, so instead I came straight back to base and decided to do some things around here. I figured since we're going to be exploring a lot more lately, I might as well put down an awesome teleporter so we can get back easily. Hey, Twinkle Toes got the Giga. Oh yeah, one of our community members got this Glacial Giga. These things are pretty OP and I want to get myself one of these soon.
Day 14, we took our scorpion out to go and try and tame some things. I wasn't planning on trying to tame this Argentavis, but it kind of kept attacking me, so we just had to knock it out. This was also a good test to see how good the torpor damage was, and I have to admit, this was pretty damn good. Riding around on this scorpion does come with a bunch of risks though.
Oh great. Yeah, we're dead. We are definitely dead. Or maybe not. We're gonna get away. All right, well, I know we're about to die, but let's see what we can take down on the way. Oh, I didn't mean to throw that out. What did I throw out? What did I throw out? Is it following?
Yes, so there was a few mistakes that just happened. 1, our scorpion died. 2, I accidentally threw out one of our flyers. And 3, if you noticed, I kind of forgot to set up a bed at our new base, so we have no way of spawning it back at base. I just spawned at the closest spawn location and just started running, but then we were caught by a really fast raptor. Spawned again, only to be munched on by a Sarco. This time, I didn't even get a chance to fully spawn in. This next spawn location, we spawned really close to our base. It was just up on this cliff and we just had to run around to get there. Safely, hopefully. And after navigating through some tricky terrain, we made it back to base nice and safe.
Why is my Conflagrant blue?
Indeed, this is a strange question. Why did this thing all of a sudden turn blue? Spoiler alert, one of the community members came past and painted it. Anyways, after that little mishap before, we made sure to place down a bed this time. I then had to get out our old PT. Remember the one that we originally tamed at the start of the video? I made a saddle for it and it had a bunch of levels, so we placed them into it as well. Then I began flying over to the place that we died at. I hadn't received a notification saying that our Pteranodon had died, so I wanted to go see if it was still alive. And thankfully, it was still alive.
That'd be freaking weird. You're being freaking weird and
we came so close to getting our PT back and that happened. At least this time we can spawn back at base. It's now day 15 and we're attempting to get our PT back once again. This time we're going to play it safe and I'm going to whistle it towards me and land somewhere safe to make the exchange. Mistakes were made, okay chat? Mistakes were made, but we got there in the end.
Oh, that's a unicorn. It's a gay unicorn.
We had proven that scorpions are probably definitely the best way to tame something strong, so we came back to this area to try and find ourselves an even stronger scorpion than we had the last time. We got the attention of a couple strong ones, and because they're so stupid, we got them stuck right here. Pretty easy knockout tame if you ask me, and then went ahead and fed it some spoiled meat and escaped out of render to keep it safe. My chat then mentioned that I could make these green tonics that will help starve the creature out completely, which should significantly speed up the taming process. I fed it the tonic, it completely starved out. We then just had to wait for it to completely tame up. It requires a lot of food, so this process took a little little while, but was significantly quicker than if it wasn't starved out already. But just like that, we had now tamed up another scorpion. New scorpion tamed, placed the saddle straight on its back, then went back out on the hunt to tame ourselves a powerful creature. I think for us to be able to really step it up into gear, we're gonna need to tame a Conflagrant Rex. My Twitch chat seems to think that they're the best tame for us to be able to get right now in this point of the game. I don't think my scorpion would hold up too well against a Conflagrant Rex, so we had to come back to base and craft up some gates and some bear traps so we could trap this Rex. The Rex has a bunch of torpor, so I crafted up as many of these trank arrows as I could. The following day, we flew over to the location of this high-level Conflagrant Rex. We were right next to a cliff, so I got the attention of these aggressive dinos and then pushed them off the cliff. I love how they're so stupid and it's so easy to get them off this cliff. I then began to set up this trap. The Rexes in this mod are quite fast and their aggro range is quite big too, so I had to make sure I set it up kind of a distance away. I then got the attention of this Rex, led it over to the trap, trapped it in the bear trap first, placed the gate down at its rear, and it bit my head off. We might be okay. We might be okay. I think I got it in. Oh no, our PT died. Alright. Luckily we got spares. I returned back to the trap to find some devastating news. The Rex had just walked out of the trap. I need to try and trap it once again, but I didn't want to risk losing my PT, so I put it away in a soul ball. Ah shit. We're dead, we're dead, we're dead, we're dead. Yeah, so that plan didn't go so well either. I returned once again because I am determined to tame this Rex. You fell down. Yeah, that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. I went and picked up these gate frames so I could use them once again. I attempted to set up this trap once again, but there's just so many dangerous creatures around that I couldn't get a chance to set it up. In the end, I think I had to give up on this one and move on with my life. Close by, we did find another Conflagrant Rex, but it was surrounded by some other dangerous creatures. It seemed to be killing the Griffin, and I just wanted to draw the attention of this X-Rex away. I got out my Scorpion, and I think we're just going to have to try and knock it out with this. It immediately aggroed onto us, and then I just went in and charged to try and knock it out. Our Scorpion was dealing a whole lot of torpor damage. This looks like it might actually work. The Ark gods were favoring us today and we managed to knock it out. Yeah, getting stuck and squished by this Rex wasn't on my bingo card today. I gave this Rex some prime meat while we wait for it to tame up. Then we went out to go and explore the local area on the back of this Scorpion. We were then confronted by a few Sabertooths. One I killed, the other one I knocked out. This Doedicurus wasn't too happy about this, so I knocked that out as well. It's a Conflagrant variant as well, so I took this opportunity to try and tame it. The description mentions that it works like an industrial grinder. This could be extremely handy around base with all the extra loot that we've got. I returned back to the Conflagrant Rex to see that it had fully tamed up and is now awake. Hey, Conflagrant Rex, what's up, buddy? I was definitely excited, as you could probably tell. We then spent the rest of the day just waiting for this Doedicurus to fully tame. I got a little impatient, was flying around, and decided to go and smack a Glacial Giga. This was a terrible idea. Oh, I didn't think I was gonna reach. This was quite the issue. With that, we had lost our last flyer. I mean, we did get a Conflagrant Rex, so that's a win, but losing a flyer in this game can be kind of annoying. I knew that we were going to keep this Conflagrant Rex around, so I decided to give it a name. We named it Jeff, after my old boss that just seemed old and angry, like this Rex. I immediately went out to go see how much power this Rex actually had. That's when we saw this happen. You can do— what the frick? I then went to go bite down on some of these creatures, and damn, we are doing some damage. Also, this is completely unleveled, so we pump a bunch of levels into this beast, which made it significantly faster and significantly stronger. Jeff here isn't really a high level Rex, so we could definitely get a higher level one out in the wild for sure. But this is definitely a step in the right direction for us to be able to progress further in this mod. Mr. Pineapples came back to show off his Griffin. It had some pretty unique colors, and he asked us to name it. I couldn't come up with a name for it, so suggest some names in the comments below. I completely forgot, but we had a Featherlight. I thought we'd run out of flyers when our PTs died. At least we still have a way to be able to get around the map quickly. I almost forgot about our Conflagrant Doedicurus. We tracked it and noticed that it was fully tamed up, so I went to go rescue it from almost being eaten by this Carno. Our Featherlight wasn't too happy about this and started attacking the Carno. I didn't want to lose this Featherlight, so I tried to shoot it back into the soul ball. Once it fully got in, it was time for me to rest in peace. The next day I got out this brand new Conflagrant Doedicurus. Then I went and collected all the random gear that we had lying around our base, put all of this gear into the Conflagrant Doedicurus, and discovered you had to put it on wandering in order for it to work as an industrial grinder, which works quite well, but the thing kind of runs away from you. This is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but we do find a solution for this later on. Whilst we're out killing things on Jeff, our Conflagrant Rex, we gathered a little bit of Primal Hide, which we could then turn into this Primal Hide armor. I don't really know if it's any good, but we have it at least. Since we're going to be taming a whole lot of creatures, I crafted up this chemistry bench so we could start making a bunch of narcotic, which we need in order to be able to make these Pugnacia trank darts. But these darts are very damn expensive. One dart is 50. Next, I went back out into the wild so I could kill big crabs like this. Carcanos are always good to kill because you get a bunch of polymer and a whole bunch of chitin from it as well. I think the next best tame for us to get would be a Griffin, but finding one worthwhile to tame is turning out to be kind of difficult. I don't really know why, but I decided to fight this X-Rex. I kind of thought I was going to win this fight. I found out quickly I was wrong. How long are you playing for? Sometimes it's a good idea to actually watch what's happening in game and not read chat. Now we definitely don't have a flyer. I'm gonna have to go get one. I parachuted down to the beach because I expect to see a flyer down here that I could tame.
Little Shinehorn. PT right there. Decent PT too.
Yeah, we weren't so lucky. It's day 19 and we're on the back of our Conflagrant Rex Jeff when we find the perfect Pteranodon to tame.
No, why did it pick stuff up instead of fed him, this stupid mutt?
Yeah, the passive tame mechanics can be kind of finicky at times, but it didn't take us long to be able to tame this.
Oh, you know exactly what we need to name this one. A little bit of a green and gold type vibe.
The fact that this PT's colors is clearly green and gold, which is the Olympic colors for Team Australia, I had to go ahead and name this PT Raygun. I just had to. You already know that Raygun is clearly a national treasure. Next, I jumped on the back of Raygun and went out on the hunt. But before we took off, we noticed some damage numbers below our base. I think someone or something had destroyed that big boat that was down there. Anyways, like I mentioned before, we're out on the hunt to try and find ourselves a Griffin. There's not a lot on the map currently, so we're just gonna have to take what we can get. You see, right now, a Griffin would be the perfect tame for us, simply for the pure fact that they fly and you can shoot from the back of them, making them a great tame for us to be able to go out and tame some high-level creatures. Although we knocked this particular one out, it was surrounded by a couple of Kentros, and I didn't really want to die from them. So I simply just had to get their attention and lead them away. Stupid idiots, they'll follow me anywhere. And with that, I could peacefully tame this Griffin with some prime meat and a bit of patience. Psych, I'm impatient as hell, so I went back and made the green tonic stuff. This way, taming this Griffin was almost instant. We have now tamed our very first Griffin. Its colors and level are a little bit whack and low, but I'll take it. I was curious to see if it was very strong. I started hitting some things, and compared to some of the creatures we have now, it's not very strong. Oh, and this happened as well. Luckily, our homie Raygun was super fast, so we were able to race back to go and collect our Griffin. Phew, that was close. I thought we had lost the Griffin already. But no, we are back, and we're back in action, baby. I increased the flying speed on this Griffin quite a bit, so when I did this dive bombing thing, it was super fast. But then I got arced, and if you don't know what being arced is, well, it's this. I hate this game. We made it back into the game, and funnily enough, it's now day 20. Luckily, the Griffin just landed right next to us, and we were alive and safe. I then went over to the Redwoods and started fighting some things to check out this Griffin's power. I mean, it's not super strong, but it's not super weak either, so it'll do for now. But whilst we're here, we saw an Achatina. I wasn't sure if Griffins could pick it up, and turns out we can pick up these snails, so I decided to bring this all the way back to base so that I could tame it. This was a little bit quicker than previous because we have the green tonics. Since we now have a Mastercraft long neck rifle, yes, I forgot to mention we got one earlier in a drop. I've been struggling to get spoiled meat in order to be able to make the narcotics so that we could make the Pugnacia strong darts. I mean, I could always farm these dead animals on the beach, but I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I searched through the crafting tab and saw that there was a meat spoiler, a part of one of the mods that I've added. With this, we just chuck raw meat into it and it'll turn it into spoiled meat quickly. I'd planned to log off for the day, so I decided to build this little area in because even though I love my community, I don't trust nobody. I want to make sure that when I log off, my body's safe and no one steals all my stuff. Day 21 and we arrived back into the game safe and sound. It was also this point of the game that we had turned off auto engrams, and I just gave everybody massive amount of engram points. Thing is, we now had to sit here for the longest part of the day relearning a whole bunch of engrams. Seriously, this took way longer than I thought it would, but it was also important. The auto engrams lag up the server and they kind of make things a little OP. Once we learned a whole bunch of engrams, we went on out to go do some exploring. I went out to go and see if I could find some cementing paste. Our Achatinas weren't producing quite enough for me right now, and I'd like to start working on this base. But once again, there was no beaver dams to be found in this area, so we took on off to go and see what else we could find around the area. We came back over to this big salmon spawn point, and my Griffin just started eating like everything. A lot of things. Absolutely munching down on every salmon down here if possible. That was just a quick and easy way for us to grab a whole bunch of meat that I could bring back to base and put into the meat spoiler. Day 22, I added a new crafting bench to our repertoire. This is the upgrade station. I kind of didn't want to add this mod, but we did in the end because we probably needed to tame some of these higher tier creatures, especially since our level cap is really high. I went ahead and maxed out our crossbow, making an ascendant version, and hopefully with this, we should be able to knock out some creatures with crazy high torpor. And if you're thinking, why don't you upgrade the long neck as well? Well, the long neck's a little bit more expensive, and we seem to have a crazy amount of these Pugnacia arrows, and they're so much cheaper than the darts are, so we'll see if this works in our favor. If not, we can always switch up to the darts later. But for now, it's definitely time for us to go out and try and tame some creatures, specifically this crazy high-level Conflagrant Rex. We're on the back of this Griffin, so shooting it's not too much of a problem, but there's still dangers around. We just gotta try and get this thing stuck and avoid these Allosauruses that are around here. We managed to get it stuck at this location so we could get a few arrows into it. I was too afraid to move myself to see exactly what it was stuck on, but this seemed to do the trick, and we managed to knock it out. I fed it some prime meat, and now it's time to wait. Specifically out of render, you know, so it stays alive, hopefully. The following morning, we returned back to the Conflagrant Rex to see if it fully tamed up yet. And yes, it had. It was ready for us to be able to take home. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Kill it! Kill it! Don't die! Oh! Stupid bird. Go down. Yeah, you ain't got nothing on our Conflagrant Rex, you little... I made sure to put this in a soul boil as soon as I could. Then I raced back home. Realized that this was a female, so we can now breed this one with Jeff. We tell them to stand next to each other. And guys, this is how babies are made. Whilst we waited for some babies to be born, we went out to go and collect some resources. Mainly metal. I'm gonna need a whole bunch of it if I plan on finishing this base. When I arrived back at base, I remembered if I placed a hitching post down and I attached our Conflagrant Dodicarus to it, we could leave it on wander without it moving around. Next, I took out these foundations in our base so that I could place these air conditioners in there. For me, this is just a neat and tidy way of placing air conditioners down so that they're kind of out of sight. Day 24, we had a peek in the soul terminal and saw that there was a whole bunch of Conflagrant Rex eggs ready for us. Of course, I went ahead and hatched them all up. I went through to check all of their stats to see if any of them were any good. I really only care about the health and melee stat. The rest of the stats, well, I don't really care about. And this one right here is going to be a keeper. And for some reason, it says that it's already fully grown up. Huh. Yes, it is. It also comes fully imprinted as well. So we put a saddle on it and then rode on out. Straight off the rip, this was doing a whole lot of damage. Oh my doozy. Yeah, this bred up a Conflagrant Rex and it is beast mode. We added a whole bunch of levels into it and 34,000 damage points is kind of crazy. These bred up Rexes will definitely be the keys to us moving forward in this mod. I finally decided to put a roof on our aircons as well. I made it out of this material because we plan on fixing all of this up later and so I could tell exactly where the aircons are as well. Next, I decided to destroy all of my forges because I'm chaotic like that. Not really. I placed in this castles and keeps forge. It works like an industrial forge. It's just a little bit cheaper to make. In the next part of progression, we need to go out and kill either an ancient Rex or one of those murder turkeys because once you kill them, they drop a thing called golden kibble, which we will then use to be able to tame primal creatures. And I'm pretty confident that our Conflagrant Rex can kill an ancient Rex. I think. We began biting away on this ancient Rex and somehow it got stuck in a rock and wasn't biting us back. I'll consider this a W, except this took a really long time to get its health down and then we started getting attacked by an Allosaurus. But after a few more bites, we managed to take down this ancient Rex. Heck yeah, we just took down an ancient Rex. It took freaking ages, but we did it. In celebration of our victory against this ancient Rex, we went and murdered a whole bunch of fish. They didn't see it coming. Next, I teleported all the way back to base so we could go ahead and start completing the base. Remember, I'm using the castles and keeps mod, and I prefer to build out of this. It just looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. Specifically because this material here is the equivalent to using metal. And in my opinion, it looks better than the metal pieces. This obviously took us a whole while to complete, but we did have enough resources that we could kind of just focus on it until it was done. Place this final piece in. We are complete. The base is done. Day 27, and with our base completely finished, it's probably time for us to go tame some new dinos. Specifically, a primal variant. We spotted this primal Spino. Now, it's not the highest level, but we just began knocking it out anyways. I finally have an ascendant long neck, so knocking this out wasn't too difficult, even with its high torpor. But as that Spino was sleeping, I noticed something over here.
Then I just knocked out something using expensive trank arrows, only to find a strong variant right next to it.
This being a much higher level, I had to knock out and tame this one instead. This was definitely much tougher to take down, but we managed to get there in the end. The nice thing about the golden kibble is the fact that once you feed it to something, they literally tame up instantly, which was perfect because it woke up and took out this little annoying nameless. When I arrived back at base, I took a bit of time to enjoy this moment.
Yeah, Primal Spinosaurus.
Since we've now tamed our very first primal creature, I now need to explain the game plan. A couple of our major goals for this entire 100 days playthrough on Pugnacia is I want to be able to tame every single primal creature and collect them all, as most of them are pretty unique in their own certain ways. Then I also want to tame the primeval creatures on this map, which are basically like the bosses that you'll find in most ARKs, like your dragons, megapithecus, dodo wyverns, etc. And completing this whole collection is going to take us a little bit. So it's time to get to work. Except firstly, we're kind of running low on silica pearls and electronics, so I had to go for a dive in the ocean quickly to go and collect a whole bunch of them. I also needed these silica pearls so I could make the primal Spino saddle, so that I could go out and test out its power. And surprisingly, it isn't as good as I thought it would be for a primal dino, that is. Even after a whole bunch of levels put into it, our Conflagrant Rex is stronger. You see, primal creatures do have other advantages as they do have a unique ability. The Spino literally shoots spines out of its, well, spine, I guess, which definitely accumulates a whole bunch of damage at once. So I guess that's good in that sense. Also, here's a good look at our base. Completed. Kinda. Well, we'll probably add some little decorations around it, but there it is. Next, I went out to go and try and track down our next person that we're going to tame. Primal Track. We're going to tame this Primal Track. Primal Tracks are really damn cool, but they're also kind of scary too. You see, not only are they really fast, they have cannons on the side of their heads and can shoot you at a distance. So even though we're on this Griffin, we're not completely safe. Thankfully, our trank darts are pretty deadly and we were able to knock this guy out. And just like that, we have successfully tamed ourselves a Primal Trike, adding to our collection. It's now day 29 and I have been told that apparently the Glacial Giga is probably the strongest tame that you can get right now. Since you can only tame them with instant golden kibble, and we currently have instant golden kibble, now was our opportunity to go and tame one. This turned out to be a little bit tricky because the thing was damn strong, but we managed to get it stuck here in this little, I don't even know what it's stuck on, but it's stuck and it's now knocked out. And this is where our game basically changed for the better. The Giga also only requires a normal Giga saddle, so it wasn't hard for us to place one on it and then start riding. I found our first victim, bit down, and oh lordy, 85,000 damage points per hit. We are now in the big leagues. I then went ahead and pumped 52 levels into this beast, and yeah, 100,000 damage points per hit. Yeah, things are gonna die quickly. Of course, with this, I had to go on a massive rampage, killing absolutely everything. Literally nothing in our path survived. We even took on our first primeval creature, this primeval Broodmother. It had 1.6 million health, and then the next minute, it had 0. Anyways, after a little bit of fun, we returned back to base, and I crafted up this thing. It's called a satiating nutrient. Basically, it's what you use to be able to tame primeval dinos. Then I got out my Primal Trike so we could have a good look at it. Look at this. This is kind of ridiculous. It's got its freaking cannons on its head. Cannons are supposed to go in your chest, bro. I then approached my Griffin and realized it probably needs a name. We're using it a lot after all. And to me, this Griffin kind of looks like a Gary. Don't you agree? Day 30 starts off with us naming this Primal Spino Bernadette. This name's hella random, but I didn't come up with it. A friend did. Next, I went out exploring to try and find something else to tame. Maybe like another primal or even a primeval now that we have a satiating nutrient. We did spot this interesting looking griffin. I managed to shoot it once, but then this rock golem got to it first and killed it. So we just had to move on with our lives. I then spotted this level 1960 phoenix. I knew that I had the nutrient to be able to tame it, but 3.6 million torpor, this might take a while. It's now day 31 and we're still trying to knock out this primeval phoenix. Knocking this out is quite the high process. We try and shoot it and then we try and make an escape so our griffin doesn't die. But sometimes we get pretty unlucky and we get hit. It does a lot of damage. So my strategy to knock this out is to shoot it and then run out of render. Once I get out of render, the phoenix tends to de-aggro and then we literally just rinse and repeat this process. But once again, this takes a whole damn long time because we aren't doing that much torpor damage at once. Fast forward a whole chunk of time and we finally knock out this big fiery bird. I then shove one of these satiating nutrients down its throat and voila! We now have our very first primeval creature, the Primeval Phoenix. Since it's a fire type creature, I decided to name it Nutsu. I know it's a phoenix and not a dragon, but if you know, you know. Anyways, I jumped straight on the back of it and started attacking the local creatures to see how much damage it does. And I will admit, it's not as amazing as our Glacial Giga, but it is still pretty decent. And its fire attack seems to do more damage over time, so I don't know, maybe if the math works out, it might be better. Either way, this is a prize and one step further to us completing this whole 100 days challenge. Day 32 begins with us riding Nutsu around. This oversized phoenix is just too much fun to fly around and burn things and kill things. Oh yeah, you think you're safe, Titanosaur? You think you're safe? Yeah, I'm gonna burn your butt. Okay, you turn around. Oh, you hit kind of hard. But not as hard as me, you little punk. You know, there's a few things in life that is very satisfying. Wearing a fresh pair of socks and this. Ooh, I love it when the screen turns yellow, not red. I arrived back at base and we had such a crazy time out on this phoenix that I turned into a Super Saiyan. We're beginning to leave a whole bunch of these dinos out, so I probably should put down a feeding troughs to keep them well fed. Since we're running this on a server, if I'm not here at any time, I don't want them to starve. That's just mean. Day 33 and people on the server wanted to come over and show off that they're better than me. I'm not gonna lie, that Dodorex is pretty cool. I swear they used to be bigger. In ASA, they're definitely bigger. Yeah, a whole bunch of people already have primevals and even higher tier creatures, and I do this full time. This is crazy. With that being said, I'm gonna have to replenish a whole bunch of my trank darts, which means I need to make a whole bunch of gunpowder. Because boy, you know we need to start taming a whole bunch of new creatures. And 40 trank darts should get us through to the next part, I hope. Long neck rifle fully upgraded and a whole bunch of trank darts available. It's time for us to get Gary out and go out and start taming some creatures. I was holding off doing this for the longest time, but I'd finally added the Creature Finder Deluxe mod. This way we can find the specific creatures that we want to hunt down. I didn't want to do this because it does feel a little OP, but you know, we're kind of need it at this point. The first dino we want to look for is the Conflagrant Anki. I wanted to see if I could pick it up. Turns out this Griffin could not pick up the Conflagrant Anki, and taming it in this location might have been a little risky with all the dangers around. I decided maybe we should go and get rid of some of these dangers. They decided, hell no, they're stronger than me.
So instead, I went to go look for a different Anki. We found one, and it was only being attacked by an X-Allosaurus. What is an X-Allosaurus? I don't know, but maybe he has like mutant abilities like Wolverine or something. Okay, that joke was bad. Let's move on. I was having difficulty killing this Allo, so instead I decided to put it to sleep. This works just as well. Unfortunately, through all that chaos, the Anki had died. Then we finally came across an Anki that was all by its lonesome. I managed to knock it out with one simple trank dart as well. These guys are a pretty basic tame, so I fed it some citronal and one of the green tonics. And then we just had to sit here and wait until it fully tamed up. Surprisingly, this took a lot longer than I thought it would have, considering it was fully starved out. We arrived back at base on day 34, and I made a saddle for this Anki. I then put it in the same place that the industrial forge was previously. Why? Because if it isn't obvious, conflagrant Ankis work exactly like an industrial forge. The biggest advantage though is that conflagrant Ankis, if you upgrade their crafting speed, they will smelt metal much quicker. Of course, with that being said, we had to fly straight on out and harvest a whole bunch of metal. There is metal to be found in the chalk hills, but it's kind of spread out all over the place. We just grabbed what we could. At least this way we can get started in the process of smelting this metal. Next, I finally completed the set of primal armor. All right, now we got a full set of this fancy ass armor. Why does my hair keep going all Goku? That's crazy. Anyways, now it's time for us to go and tame the next creature to add to our collection. We want to tame a Primal Gryphon. Sorry, Gary, but it's time for us to get an upgrade. Unfortunately, I don't have any golden kibble right now, so we're going to have to quickly take down an ancient Rex. Thankfully, from the help of our Glacial Giga, taking it down is significantly easier than it has ever been before. There ended up being a few ancient Rexes around, so I figured I might as well take out as many as I could whilst we're here, so we could stock up on the golden kibble. We had now secured a whole bunch of golden kibble. It's time for us to go tame some more primal creatures. Unfortunately, with Pugnacia comes a lot of scary other creatures. This Primal Gryphon was surrounded by a Reaper, a bunch of Wyverns, and some skeleton. I mean, just craziness. To make things worse, aiming at it was kind of difficult because it was fast, not because I have bad aim. It was kind of weak too, and it died. Yeah, it got absolutely murked by everything around it. So, on to the next Griffin. We found a nice cool pink one, and then we got burnt. Damn it. This one was also struggling to stay alive. All right, you dying over here? Yeah, you're probably dying, aren't you? Yeah, you stupid, don't know how to live creature. We then found this nice colored one. I don't know what color that is, but it was surrounded by a bunch of Wyverns. It's nice to know that I can fly backwards faster than they can fly forwards, and I can dodge them because Gary's super quick like that. Anyways, I drew their attention away and then did the old get out of render trick to lose their aggro. Then I watched from a distance to see them try and get away from the Griffin. I then flew in to try and get the attention of the Griffin and the Griffin only, kited that away, which seemed to be successful. The Wyverns also did not want to join this party. A couple precise hits to the head and this Griffin was down. Fed it some tasty golden kibble, and we now have a bright bluish, greenish, cyan colored top hat wearing Griffin. I went ahead and named this Primal Gryphon Benji. Benji is his name. Oh. Now, Benji, being a Primal Gryphon, has a special ability. When it does its Griffin Bomb, it drops an attack that they describe as like napalm. Again, it may not be as strong as some of the creatures that we've currently tamed and own, but this Primal Gryphon is significantly better than Gary was. And I guess it's pretty fun dropping bombs on innocent things. Just ask America in World War II. Hiroshima! I flew back to base and realized I probably need to make a little adjustment to this area. It's time that I expand this area just a little bit more. And I want to make a flat area out here so I can put all of these creatures on display. I quickly forgot how expensive these building pieces were, so we're back out here collecting some more metal. Day 36, we made the final touches on this little flat area out here so we could display our dinos. This doesn't look half bad. Definitely not big enough. I think I want to like maybe, I don't know. I just wanted to flatten the area out just so I can have like a place that I can kind of keep some of these cool dinos on display, you know? With that part of our base sorted out, it's time to go tame another primal creature. This time, the Primal RG. We're back in the snow, so there's lots of Wyverns that want our attention. Thankfully, it was kind of easy to kite these ones away, then go back in and get the attention of the Primal RG, and then I kite this one to a location that I feel comfortable that I can start shooting and knocking it out. Luckily for us, this was a pretty textbook tame. Fed at the kibble, it immediately tamed up, and I accidentally named it SA. The Creature Finder Deluxe mod showed us that there was another Primal Argentavis on the map kind of close by. I figured I might as well tame it. It was close, and this is kind of easy. Before heading back to base, I saw that there was another primal creature close by. This time, it was a pretty special one, and one of my favorite meme type dinos. This is the DJ Penguin holding an AK-47, the Primal Kairuku. Yes, that's the noise it makes when it's shooting. We avoided its dubstep bullets and shot it in the head a couple times and knocked it out. Even asleep, it's still shooting. Kind of dangerous if you ask me. On our way home, we went to go stop by one of my subscribers' bases. This is the Icy Cat and her little stronghold in this castle here. Oh, you got these trilobites? Apparently they can climb up like walls and stuff. Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah, they can. They can climb up walls. It's crazy. Of course, we joined an alliance because I do that with everybody that's on my server. And this is a pretty important thing because later on in this video, our alliance is very important. Now that we got this big flat area back at base, I was able to place out some of my creatures and put them on display. Day 37, we jumped on the shoulders of our dubstep DJ Penguin and went out to go have a little bit of fun. Basically living every American bullied high schooler's dream. Unfortunately, it was the Australian kangaroo that was its first victim. This penguin's pretty cool, but the music's kind of annoying and it's not really that strong. But it's a cool little gimmick, I suppose. After a quick restock of these trank darts, it was time that we go and hunt down our next primal dino that we could tame. The next victim going to be added to our collection was the Primal Stego. This black Stego with the blue blades went down with ease. Honestly, this tame wasn't too exciting. We knocked it out, we fed it, we tamed it. We're smashing through our list of primal dinos. The next one we need to tame is this Primal Terror Bird. Again, riding on the back of Benji makes life so much easier. Keeps us safe from all the dangers because we can fly and we shoot off the back of it and knock things out. Once again, we were running kind of low on golden kibble. I thought we had enough, but I think it spoils. So we got our Glacial Giga out again and went and attacked an Ancient Rex. Well, a few of them so we could stock up and maybe we don't have to do this again. Killing Ancient Rexes is kind of a grind. We'd collected a whole bunch of the primal dinos, but there was one that requires a different method to be able to knock it out. A method that requires a rocket launcher and rocket grenades. Now, if you don't know what dino that is, well, you're a silly duffer. Not really, it's a Carcanos. And you trying to tame a Carcanos with a rocket launcher on the back of a Griffin might have been a bad idea. But for some reason, we were having some luck. Kinda. You had to try and get a direct hit for it to work well. I thought I was doing pretty well shooting it because it was so close. My chat made me realize that I was damaging myself as well. Oh, I myself are getting damaged. The rocket launcher is going to break before I can actually do anything. Yes, indeed, my rocket launcher would break before I could actually knock this thing out. But I just had to continue shooting it. I need to tame this thing to add to my collection. We were here for a good chunk of time trying to knock this thing out, and then my chat finally told me what I needed to do. I could use a Primal Trike to knock it out. Also, did I mention that I named this Primal Trike Blastoise? Because it's blue and it has the cannons on its head? Like Blastoise. I returned back to the location in somewhat of a safe area, jumped on the back of Blastoise, raced over to this blue king crab, and began shooting it in the face with our big cannonballs, which was somewhat effective until it would pick me up and ragdoll me around. Did it just pick me up? It just ragdolling me now? Even though I was picked up by this big crab, I still managed to hit it with our blasts. We were slowly getting its torpor up. That was until it took me under the water. I was hoping I could knock it out before it would drown us. My oxygen had fully depleted, but I was kind of playing it smart by healing myself up if I was going to die. This tactic wasn't really working well for me, so instead I dismounted, got some oxygen, and tried to get Blastoise back into one of these soul balls. Of course, the Carcanos was still aggroed on me, so I died. That's perfectly fine though. We were able to return safely, we got Blastoise back out, and continued knocking out this Primal Carcanos. Little bit of a stressful time knocking this thing out, but we did it in the end, and that's all that matters. With that, I believe we've tamed every primal creature in this mod, I think. Day 39, we placed out all of our primal creatures, so we could view every one that we had. That's right, the Stegos have like a mohawk. There's the Blastoise, the Agis, the King Crab, Phoenix, DJ Kairuku, and Zitiara Bird. I went ahead and named this Stego Steve, even though it's a chick. I mean, I don't know why, just Steve looks cool. Next, I went out to this location with my Glacial Giga because I needed to hunt down some primeval creatures and I needed to kill them. Kill them all. You might be thinking, aren't you supposed to be taming them, Aaron? Well, yes, but in order to tame them, I need to kill them first because once you kill one, they drop their version of energy. For example, once we kill this monkey, it then drops the Megapithecus energy. And you need primeval energy to be able to make satiating nutrients so that you could tame them. Next, I went ahead and named this Primal Carcanos Mr. Krabs. I know, very original and very unique. In preparation for taming some of these primevals, we went ahead and made a bunch of these satiating nutrients. I then searched through the Creature Finder Deluxe to try and find a primeval dino that I wanted to hunt down and tame. Now this tame was going to be a game changer for us, the Primeval Manacore. And this one looks damn amazing. It's black with yellow wings. It looks freaking sick. I knew this was going to take us a long time to try and knock it out, and it was pretty dangerous with its attacks. Thankfully, now we're riding Benji, and unlike the last time that we tried to tame the Primeval Phoenix, he's a lot stronger, so we can withstand a few more hits. But then this happened. To make things a little bit worse, I had a little bit of an emergency and had to go AFK for quite a long time. If you were in stream at this time, you probably remember this happening. I finally returned the following day, and then I checked to see if the Griffin was dead. It hadn't died. I then jumped on the back of our Primal Agi, put some levels into his flying speed so we can get there quicker, and raced over to go collect Benji. Oh, there's me Griffin. Still alive. I assume the Manticore's gone. Yes, indeed, the Manticore is gone. Luckily, there was another one kind of close. its colors just weren't as cool as the previous one. And with that, we had to begin the process of knocking this big bat, lion, scorpion. Well, what even is a manticore? This was quite the process, and then a couple of times it did hit us. But like I mentioned earlier, Benji is a little bit tough like that. Except I did forget one crucial detail. Shit, what happened? Oh, it knocks it out and puts it to sleep. Yes, manticores do deal torpor damage, which does mean they can help you tame creatures as well. This manticore is going to be very valuable to our team. I made it back to Benji, but where he was knocked out was kind of not very safe. So I put him in a soul ball and relocated to a place that's a little bit safer than where we were. Then I could feed him this blue tonic, which would wake him up basically instantly, and then we could get back to knocking out this manticore. Day 41, we survived the wrath of this manticore long enough that we finally knocked it out. When I finally took this manticore down, it landed in a not so great place. There was a lot of dangerous little pests around. We managed to clear them all out, but just to be safe, I put Benji away. I fed the manticore the satiating nutrient, and we now have our very own Primeval Manacore. This thing is easily the loudest flyer ever, but it does hit really hard, so, you know, we love it. I spent the day exploring the lands on the Manacore and killing things, mainly so that we could get some valuable experience points so we can increase these levels. But also, now that we have this Manticore, we have a very dangerous torpor dealer. That's why we went to go hunt down this Glacial Giga and shoot it with our Scorpion Stinger ranged attack. Holy torpor levels, you are going down quickly, son. This Manticore is definitely going to change the game when it comes to taming things. Taming this Gigasaurus only took us mere seconds. And with that, we can now breed these Glacial Gigas together so we can create an army to fight some of these big bosses later on. Or at least grow up a fully imprinted one with some pretty decent stats. With our Manticore on lock, it was time for us to go out and tame another primeval creature. Which primeval creature are we going to attempt to tame right now? Well, the mighty Primeval Dragon. I had my eyes set on the Glacial Giga, but we kind of came across this one while we're trying to find the other Giga. This was quite the fun aerial battle. It got a little bit scary sometimes because it looked like we might accidentally kill this dragon instead of taming it. We got its health pretty low, but we did manage to knock it out. I fed it a satiating nutrient, and we have now tamed a Primeval Dragon, adding to our collection. I returned back to base and saw that we had a bunch of eggs that we could hatch. Of course, I went ahead and hatched them up, specifically trying to get ourselves a decent stat Giga. It was now time for us to name this Manticore as well. We named it Theo. Day 42, we got our dragon out, and I decided to name it. I named it Igneal after one of the dragons from my favorite anime, Fairy Tail. Now, is a dragon a really big, strong killer? I don't know, that's a lot of numbers, so I can't really read them easily, but I'm assuming yes? Its fire breath attack definitely does a lot of damage over time. So with this, we went to go murder a whole bunch of these primevals. Again, so we could get their energies. Not exactly sure why, but this particular location has a bunch of these dodo wyverns and megapithecus. And for the rest of the day, we pretty much just played Roast the Dinosaur. It's nice going out and murdering things. I mean, not in real life, but like, it's nice, I guess. Day 43, we teleported to a particular location because today was the day that we fight our first major boss. The first boss that we went to go fight was the third Trike. With 63 million health, I knew this was going to be a big one. The third Trike has an ability to summon in little minions, other Trikes and a Tapihara. I knew my Glacial Giga probably had the best chance against this thing. What I wasn't prepared for was how long this was going to take. This evil Trike was damn tough, but I was just here clicking away fiercely and making sure to drop that snow attack as much as I could. Before coming here though, I made sure to stock up on a lot of health potions to make sure that we didn't die, and all of that kept us alive long enough for this to happen. Hey, we did it! And we unlocked a bunch of tech. I forgot that's how you unlock the tech. Also, when you kill these bosses, they drop a bunch of candy on the floor. You can eat it and it gives you a little bit of a buff, but I don't think it's that important. I don't know. Killing this boss, we unlocked a bunch of engrams, got a new piece of armor, some tier 2 saddles, and some element. Also, I may have forgotten to mention, but this particular Giga that we're riding is one of the babies that we produced earlier that's fully imprinted with the better stats. That's why it's doing so much damage. Arriving back at base, I placed on this new headpiece, and yeah, I look pretty fly. Next, I made and placed down this ascension portal. Apparently, this is how you summon in bosses, but someone on the server must have already done that. This is what we use to craft the Mega Mech, and we can use it to be able to craft these sacrifices that we could then use to sacrifice a primeval to turn it into one of these boss type dinos. If you notice, we have to jack up the gamma a lot, and it kind of annoys me, so I place down these lights so we don't always have to have the gamma all the way up at base. Now that we have secured ourselves some element, I made this S+ crafting bench because we can use that to make the S+ replicator. Instead of having to go find one of the obelisks and make it in that, we can just do it here at base. We now have the S+ replicator. It's just in a bit of a rough spot. We'll adjust it in a second. There we go. Much better cleaner fit. Day 44, we spent the entire day just hunting down primeval dinos. We need to collect a whole bunch of their energies just so we can craft one of these sacrifices so we can make our own boss. We returned back to base with all the energies that we had collected, and that's kind of all we had collected after basically most of the day. And our next goal is to be able to get ourselves one of every one of these boss dinos for ourselves. So we're straight back out here hunting down more primevals. We will tame some more later, but for now we're just going to kill them because it's more fun. Day 45, we're still out here killing more primeval dinos. This time I'm riding Theo because eventually I'm going to have to tame one of them. But for now, a few of these guys are going to have to be sacrificed for the greater good. This primeval Dodorex seemed to be a pretty high level, so I decided I was going to tame that one. If it would stay still long enough for me to be able to shoot it, that is. This Dodorex wasn't going to stick around very long. We had plans for its future. This primeval Dodorex is going to be sacrificed to the gods. Well, not the gods. He's just going to be sacrificed so he can then turn into the third trike. Hey, we lost the thing to get this thing. We've now obtained our very first boss tame, the third trike. Is this a straight killer? Is it dangerous? Not really. I mean, the Glacial Giga is still better. Except its special ability does give it quite the advantage, as these minions have a crazy amount of health, so killing them might be kind of tough. You can also change the appearance of this dino as well. I made it blue and see-through. It's cool, I guess. Because we're placing so many dinos on the outside, I wanted to try and keep them secure and safe from any wandering pests. So I placed in these colossus-sized walls and gates. It's now day 46 and we're heading on out on our RG to go and collect a whole bunch of metal. I took our Conflagrant Anki out to go and help us collect this. Because we can't make that Ascendant Pickaxe, this is probably the best bet for us to be able to collect all this stuff right now. Also, quick disclaimer, some of these days my audio is kind of messed up, so there's going to be no in-game sounds. But I wanted to go farm all this metal because I wanted to expand this outside a little bit and change a bunch of the interior floor from stone into the castles and keeps flooring. This is quite the hefty job, so it fed over to the next day. It was probably a good idea to move this teleporter from inside to outside right here. I was streaming at this point of the game and they told me that I could change the color of certain dinos with this gun. It was kind of tricky to figure out how to use, and because of this, our Theo's red from now on. By now in the playthrough, I had to increase the amount of times that primevals spawn on the map. By default, only 2 of each primeval spawn at a time. But because there's so many people playing on the server currently, it was a better idea to increase the amount of spawns just so we could go and hunt them down because you need to kill so many of them. Otherwise, only 2 would spawn in at a time every 2 hours. And that just wasn't going to cut it for all of us playing currently. Day 49, we go out to go squash this big overgrown spider. Speaking of crazy big overgrown insects, it's time for us to go and fight one. That over there is Mothra. It has really cool colors and everything, but it also needs to die. We're back out here on our toughest dino, our Glacial Giga, chomping away fiercely, just doing little bits of damage to it. When these bosses have 63 million health and we're only doing 200k per hit, I mean, you do the math. This is going to take quite the while. Thankfully, we have a little bit of support from some editing. We got its wings rather bloody and deleted this oversized insect. It also dropped some new saddles, some elements, some new armor, and mothballs. It kind of blends in, but the new armor is this volcanic chest piece. Oh, the shoes as well, but you can't really see. They just make me faster, which is pretty cool. Day 50 and we had all the required ingredients to make this Mothra sacrifice. Well, almost. We're missing something that's pretty crucial. We need a primeval to sacrifice. And I'm not going to sacrifice the ones that I already have. This Megapithecus is going to have to be sacrificed. Look at it. It looks stunned in one spot, not even passed out. Maybe it knows it's going to be dead soon. Back at base, I fed this Megapithecus the Mothra sacrifice, took a step back, and Mothra spawned right in my face. Hello, Mothra. I could have swore you were bigger. Apparently this isn't Mothra, it's called the spawn of Mothra. Maybe the wild boss one is bigger. The big one's definitely stronger. Mothra may not be the strongest creature that we've got currently, but its colorful wings make for a great decoration around our base. Anyways, we head on back out to go and murder some more primevals. We managed to take down this Broodmother, then I saw some of the community members taking on a Spinebreaker. Spinebreaker is definitely the toughest boss to fight in this mod. I tried to do my part, but I don't think I was helping very much. I did get grounded though, which was kind of scary because I did not want to lose Theo. So instead of getting involved, we just kept our distance and watched from afar until I got summoned back to base because the Icy Cat wanted to cut my hair. Unfortunately, it didn't work for her, so I did it for her. Aren't I a great friend? Day 51, we went to go hunt down this certain boss. I needed to get rid of this guy rather quickly because he's kind of close to one of our friends' bases. This is Mr. Fister the Destroyer. Funnily enough, Mr. Fister the Destroyer is also the guy that made this mod. Because this guy is so small, we couldn't get a good angle so we could see its health. We just had to rely on the bar above his head. Once again, a rather long battle, but we got there in the end. Mr. Fister really likes to mess us up. I could always teleport back to base, but sometimes it's just a lot of fun running back to base on our Giga. It's just so satisfying being an apex predator in this game. Hair growth check. It's getting there. Now that we've taken down another boss, Mr. Fister, obviously we had to go tame a primeval creature, preferably something with a high level, like this Megapithecus. I managed to knock out 2 of them, and we had 2 satiating nutrients, so it kind of just makes sense to get them both. I kind of forgot that they're really fast and they like to jump around like crazy. He's just going flying over there. Chill out, bruh. See, this is the problem with the speed in this game. We already had enough energy, so we could go ahead and craft this Mr. Fister sacrifice. Let me introduce you to the man himself, Mr. Fister. Hey, mate, Mr. Fister. I'm a man riding a man. I noticed that we've been getting a lot of these boss trophies from killing all the primevals, so I figured we might as well just hang them up around the place. You know, kind of decorate and stuff. Anyone else kind of think it's weird that the heads are a lot smaller now that they're up on the wall and compared to how they actually are? Anyways, while we're doing this, I went outside and saw a big-ass whale. Lucy, you bringing big-ass whales to my base? That is, in fact, a big-ass whale. Next, I decided to jump on the back of Igneal and do some exploring. I had no current objective that I was trying to complete. I was just having a look around the map. That's when we saw this pop into render. Holy lordy. Yes, it looks like somebody's already made a Mega Mech, the tribe of low fuel. After a fun time exploring, we went back to base so I could pick up one of my creatures because it was time to go and fight another boss. Mothra. I know we've already fought Mothra before, but I need to fight it again. We actually have to fight a lot of the bosses multiple times. Mothra in particular, we fight a lot. Now, it's not that it's difficult to fight these bosses, it's just it takes a damn long time. But the reason that I killed Mothra once again was I needed its mothballs. I'll explain why in a second. First, I'm going to fight this other boss that was close by. Well, that was the plan until this murder turkey started aggroing on us and shooting missiles. Oh shit, there's a murder turkey. Oh shoot, there's a murder turkey. Murder turkeys in this mod are ruthless. We managed to take down this murder turkey, but then we aggroed the elemental Titanosaur. Even though we originally came to kill this, we didn't get a chance to heal up and kind of, you know, get our bearings. We had no other option but to get straight into this fight. Thankfully, I'm pretty well stocked up with these health potions, so that wasn't really an issue. Again, just like expected, this took us a damn long time, but we finally killed the elemental Titanosaur, taking out yet another boss. Once I returned back to base, I placed these items into the Ascension portal, which confirmed we could then craft a few items that I wanted. One being this Mothra trophy. You can make trophies of certain bosses and then you can add them to your dinos, which give them an additional buff. For some reason, it was kind of bugged and we could only make the Mothra trophy on the server. I don't really know what was happening. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough of these energies to be able to make the elemental Titanosaur just now. So for the rest of the day, we're out in this world hunting down more primeval energies. Day 54 begins with us restocking our health potion supply, then moving this Primeval Megapithecus right over to this location to turn him into the elemental Titanosaur. I'm glad we decided to summon this guy over here. He is pretty massive. Our collection's coming along. Mothra, Titanosaur, third trike, Mr. Fister, got all of our primals, couple of primevals. After having a look at all the dinos that we had already collected, I went to go see what other boss dinos we are missing. Kraken, we need to go get a Kraken. That's the only one of this one we haven't fought yet. Okay. With that information, we jumped on the back of Thea and started heading out to go find ourselves a Kraken. Got out our Glacial Giga, but this time I added the trophy to it. Then we begin this long tedious fight against this oversized shellfish. Just like previous fights, it's a rather long one and we kind of just stay on the same spot this entire time too. Sometimes we try and pull out the cinematic angles, you know, to try and make this a little bit funner to look at, I guess. Just like that, we had defeated the Kraken and collected all of its candy. We weren't that close to base, so we teleported back home this time. I then placed the Kraken beak inside the Ascension portal, but it looks like we're quite short on energies once again. If it wasn't obvious, day 55, we spent the entire time killing primevals. Day 56, we're still killing primevals. Since only a limited amount of them spawned at a time, I wanted to try and kill as many as we could. Looks like we're short Phoenix energies, so we better go get that as well, I guess. I then had the idea of increasing the power of our current primeval dinos, and the S+ mutator mod can help us do that. With the S+ mutators, you can do a bunch of different things, but in this particular situation, I wanted to imprint my dinos to increase some of their stats. Having 5 of these S+ mutators means we can get them up to a full 100% imprint, because one single imprint pulse gives 20% imprint bonus. So with that, we imprinted Theo and Igneal, our dragon. We are now doing a whole lot more damage than we were previously. This will definitely speed up the process of killing a bunch of these creatures. We managed to stock up on a few of these Phoenix energies, like quite a few of them, and now we were able to make the Kraken sacrifice. I just need a Primeval Tame to sacrifice first. This Broodmother might do quite well. We will tame a bunch of Primevals later to add to our collection, but for now we're just going to use them to be able to sacrifice the bosses. This particular Broodmother looked too cool to sacrifice. I decided to keep it around. I guess it's its lucky day. Day 58, and now we have a full set of volcanic armor. I also decided to decorate a bit of our base area with some of these flags. Next, I crafted up a bunch of these satiating nutrients and went out and tamed multiple primevals, enough so we don't have to kind of worry about, sacrifices later on. We can just get them when we need them, so that the very next day I could craft up this Kraken sacrifice and sacrifice this dragon so we can add the Kraken to our collection. We now successfully own all of the basic bosses. Now we need to go and fight and kill 3 of the tech tiered bosses. These bosses are significantly tougher than the previous ones. For example, this particular boss in front of us is called Tempest, and Tempest is a Liplurodon with some pretty cool abilities, but it also has 190 million health points. Thankfully, I'm stocked up on health potions because this battle was definitely a long one. A lot of these boss fights are pretty easy, they just take a long time. And 190 million health, even with an imprinted Giga like this took a whole lot of time. But when we finally defeated Tempest, we were super satisfied with our success. We also gained a new armor piece. With Tempest now defeated, I raced back home, threw out one of our primevals that we had laying around in a soul ball, sacrificed it to turn it into our very own Tempest. Now, Tempest has a bunch of cool abilities. One thing is, it can survive on land, it can fly, and you can also fly or swim it underwater. This thing really has no bounds. It does pretty decent damage numbers as well, but again, not as good as what we already have. But the fact that it can maneuver around all these areas like this makes it pretty valuable to have. We're so close to completing the collection of all the bosses. We just need Skarner and Spinebreaker. We still haven't collected all of the primevals though. I went to go and tame this primeval Indom. I had to do it with the good old long neck and the trank darts because it had such low health that our Manticore would have killed it before it would tame it. I managed to knock it out, but I forgot I didn't have any satiating nutrients on me, so I quickly teleported back to base so I could go and collect some satiating nutrients. It wasn't until day 61 that I was able to return to tame this Indominus Rex. But with that, we've now added another primeval dino to our collection. Next section of this day, we went out to go squash some of these deadly spiders. Again, trying to restock our supply of primeval energies. Next, I went to go fight this elemental Titanosaur, but this time on my dragon. I was kind of curious to see if the dragon would do more damage because it's imprinted now, and maybe the flame attack does more damage over time. And honestly, I wasn't too sure if it was better or worse. It just kind of seemed the same. For some reason, I had forgotten that we'd gotten these new gloves, so I put them on now. They're just basically tech gloves, but I suppose they're kind of special, I guess. Day 62, we head on out to go and harvest a whole bunch of metal. Throughout this entire 100 days, we go through a whole bunch of metal. The armor that we're wearing also gives us a massive weight bonus, so going out and farming a whole heap is so much easier than it was earlier. Now that we're completely stocked up on metal, I went ahead and tried to replace all of these stone floors with the castles and keeps floor. One thing they definitely did better in ASA was the building. In ASA, sometimes snapping some of these pieces can be a little bit janky. Day 63, we added these pieces to the top of the base. In my opinion, it makes this base look a lot better, and I think it's coming along quite nicely. And before you come at me in the comment section, yes, I noticed this while we're flying around and I fixed it up. There's the overtop view. Kind of crazy how many dinos we have. We're definitely going to have to try and expand this somehow, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Day 64, and I'm ready and prepared to go and fight the next boss. This time, it's the big scorpion, Skarner. Now, Skarner can be one of the deadliest bosses. He can pick you up with his stinger, and he deals a ton of torpor damage quickly. Thankfully, these blue potions come in handy. But here's the thing. I'm quite aware of a pretty cheesy method to kill Skarner. We just have to make him face a different direction. It's a little bit awkward on the side of this mountain, but all we need to do is just get behind his bum and blow fire up it. For most Pugnacia veterans, this is a pretty well-known strategy to kill this guy. Since it's one of the top-tier tech bosses, it has 190 million health. And other than the fact that we got some pretty sweet angles blowing fire up its ass, this fight was rather boring. We got its health quite a bit down, but then I had to check on something real quick. I just wanted to go check out my merch store to see if everything was all good there. It was, and this was a massive mistake, because when we returned, Skarner had fully healed up, which means we have to repeat this entire process all over again. Fast forward something like 10 minutes and we finally killed Skarner. This was quite the relief. You get a whole bunch of gear from him, but you also get Skarner's tail spike, which kind of works like a pike, I guess, but does torpor damage. It's a really cool weapon to get, but it's kind of useless this late in the game because the Manticore is just a better torpor dealer. I then made the sacrifice token, sacrificed one of our primeval dragons that we had laying around, and Skarner appeared in the middle of the ground. Don't worry, we managed to fix this bug. And the bug... See what I did? That was bad, sorry. Having our very own tamed Skarner means that we only have one final boss that we need to tame ourselves. And that is the biggest and scariest one of them all, Spinebreaker. Day 66, and we should really be going to get Spinebreaker, but I got a little distracted. After seeing the Icy Cat's big whale, I wanted one for myself. Look, it's still pretty early in this 100 days, so I think we can spare a little bit of time to have some fun, right? I used a golden kibble to tame this thing because I didn't know what it actually ate, and that worked straight away. Before riding it or doing anything with it, I wanted to leave it in a soul ball so it could get some passive experience points. Whilst we waited, we smelted up a whole bunch of metal and went out on the hunt in the chalk hills to try and find some more. The chalk hill has quite a bit of metal, but it's just in weird locations to be able to find it. It's okay, we're quite familiar with this map now, so we know a lot of locations to be able to find metal. We came over here because we saw another person fighting a Skana with their Spinebreaker. Watching this was rather inspiring. I'm pretty excited to get myself a Spinebreaker at this point. We made it back to base and I fed the metal to the Anki. Now we just gotta wait for this metal to smelt. The following day, I made another one of these tech replicators. We had to get rid of the last one when we were trying to fix up the floor, and I just never replaced it. Until now. But I really needed the tech replicator so I could make the saddle for the big space whale. I'm pretty sure that the tech saddle is the only saddle you can make for these things. I don't know if there's another version. Anyways, I thought it'd be kind of funny to place a whole bunch of movement speed points into this big whale. Ready, steady, go! Oh, okay, you're not fast. Oh, you build up speed. Oh, here we go. We're so fast. Look at that. It's crazy, dude. We are now the fastest whale to ever hit Ark. The frames were getting a little bit nuts, and yeah, we banged into stuff a lot. Obviously, I had to check out some of the abilities that the space whale had. Dropping bombs was kind of fun, I guess. Anyways, space whale fun done and dusted. It was time for us to move on with the next goal. But to complete said goal, we're gonna have to clear out all of these trees in this area. You might be thinking, Aaron, why the heck do you need to clean out all of these trees? Well, that's because we are about to fight Spinebreaker. And to fight Spinebreaker, you need a lot of space that you can move around in. For this, I got a whole army of our Glacial Gigas out, just whatever ones we had laying around the base. Then I got the attention of Spinebreaker and brought him down to this big open area. I'll explain the strategy that we need to use to be able to fight him. First, I sent in all of these Gigas to attack, but then we got stuck in and amongst them all. Oh, no. We can't get stuck here. We can't get stuck. Oh, we got out. Lucky. Thank you for dying. That's how we got out. Anyways, to explain this strategy that we used against Spinebreaker, you see that big ball there? Well, it cannot touch us because it'll basically murder us instantly. So when we're fighting Spinebreaker, we have to constantly move backwards and away. That's the reason why we need to chop down all of the trees around here. Because when he drops that big death bubble, if we're standing in it, we will die. So a big, nice open area is the best place to fight Spinebreaker. Obviously, it already takes quite a time to kill him. He does a crazy amount of damage to you already without the death bubble, but he also has 212 million health. And this is one of those cases, one simple mistake can end our lives quickly. Phew, we just escaped with that one. We managed to dodge a few more death balls, get it down to 10 million health points, but it wasn't until day funny number that we finally killed Spinebreaker and claimed all of the gear for our own. I raced back to base and I checked the Ascension portal and saw that I could craft the Spinebreaker sacrifice. Problem is, I ran out of sacrifices, so we're gonna have to go quickly tame something. This level 2072 Primeval Dodorex might do the trick. You guys know how this goes by now. Tame a Primeval, bring it back, feed it the sacrifice, it disappears, and boom, we now have a Spinebreaker. It's at this point of the game that our game definitely changes. Spinebreaker doesn't do a lot of damage off the rip, but it's his abilities that make the biggest difference, specifically his death bubble. I stumbled across this Kraken, so I decided to test our might against it. Surprisingly, we were getting our ass whooped. And I didn't need to fight Kraken right now, so we just left it alone. I didn't really want to risk losing Spinebreaker already. With that, I decided to head back to base with our Spinebreaker and keep him safe. At least for now. To make sure we could get the most out of this Spinebreaker, I went ahead and imprinted him with the S+ mutator. Fully imprinted Spinebreaker, and oh my lord, we are doing so much more damage than we were previously. Swimming around this big open lake like this, we are damn fast. I guess Spinebreaker is a Spino after all. But then we stumbled across this Tempest. We're fully imprinted now, and we do need to kill this guy. I mean, we might as well start fighting it at least. Even though we're riding this Spinebreaker and it's fully imprinted, fighting Tempest was kind of tough and took us a while, just not as long as the last time we fought Tempest. We need to collect all the boss items once again if we want to be able to make ourselves a Mega Mech later on. That's why it's worthwhile killing them again. Day 71 begins with us making a little adjustment to the outside part of our base. You see, all of our creatures right now are kind of cramped in this space here, so we're going to need to expand it. And to expand this space, I'm going to build over this little gap here. This little project of ours came with a few little hassles. Thankfully, I have a pretty decent understanding of Ark building, so I know how to get around some of these things. If I build a bunch of foundations down below here, this should work as stability so we can complete the gap above us. One thing that I did not take into consideration is this thing was going to take us a lot longer than I expected and way more resources than I expected. We went through the craziest amount of metal. I couldn't believe it. This gap that we're filling in was a lot bigger than I thought it would be and required so many building pieces. Like, this is how it looks on day 73, and I'm kind of not satisfied with it just yet. So we continued on until I was happy with how it looked. I even placed down these fences to try and keep the dinosaurs from falling off the edge. It's probably going to happen, but maybe this can help hinder that. I was pretty happy with what we had. Now it's time for us to adjust our dinos and place them all around. Placing our final dinosaur in, the big ass space whale, we now have all of our dinos spread out. What a collection. And there we have it. This took us 5 days to complete this little project, but it was well worth it. I think all of our dinos look pretty damn cool, and they're kind of spaced out and it's kind of safe, I guess. All right, with all of that complete, what do we do next? We've collected and tamed every dino that we had in our goals list. The primals, primevals, and even all the boss dinos. What is next? Next, we use our spine breaker to fight some of these big bosses. Like I mentioned earlier when we're fighting the Kraken, we need to fight these guys all over again so we can get the Mega Mech. Spine breaker makes this so easy that we were able to fight 2 bosses in 1 day. We've taken down Mothra, and then right now we've taken down the 3rd Trike. But that's not all we have in store with this 100 days. We have to fight the final boss, the big ass Hippo. We will work our way towards that, but for now we're gonna fight some bosses. Skarner is next. Again, a little bit of a long drawn out battle, but we got there in the end, taking out this big metal silver scorpion. Checking the Ascension portal, we can keep track of exactly the items that we need and the bosses we need to fight and kill. To be able to make the Mega Mech, we actually have to defeat the Hippo boss in the Ascension arena. But we'll get to that later, and I'll show you exactly how that works. Day 77, we take our spine breaker out to go kill a bunch of these spiders. Then I go ahead and pick a fight with another spine breaker. Looking back at this was hella risky, fighting a spine breaker with our only spine breaker. If we lost this one, this would set us back quite a bit. And moving backwards was kind of tricky at times. It was a bit easier when we were on our dragon earlier. Like, we barely dodged that bubble every time it popped up. But we did win this time, obviously. Even though I needed to kill the spine breaker so I can make the Mega Mech, that wasn't the purpose of killing it this time. I had some plans for it, but we'll get to that. For now, take a good look at the tech chest piece. We now have a jetpack and can fly around. This is kind of fun, I guess. We also got this tech rifle from Skarner, and its bullets deal torpor damage as well. Just like that, you can knock out a bunch of creatures. Again, I do think the Manticore is better, but this could be useful in certain circumstances. Having this tech suit has many advantages, like the simple fact that we can just float on in back to our base. Day 78, I craft a new tech item called the Pugnacia Tech Force Field. Not only is this to protect all of our dinos, but it's also to protect anybody coming into the server, because currently it is public and you can join it, and yeah, don't mess up with my base or I'll come and punch you in the face. Anyways, on our next port of call, it was time for us to go tame another creature. This time we're taming this Primeval Dragon. You might be wondering, why the heck are we taming this? What could we possibly use this for? We're sacrificing it to summon in this spine breaker. Now, why could we possibly need 2 spine breakers? To breed them, obviously. Oh, but Aaron, you can't breed spine breakers. Well, I'm about to educate you today. First, we come over to the S+ mutator and we instruct it to turn this spine breaker into one of those they-thems. Then we instruct the S+ mutator to do the allow breeding pulse. And just like that, this female spine breaker and this gender neutral spine breaker can now breed. And now we must wait for the lovely time to happen. They breed through gestation, so that's kind of weird for a Spino, but hey, we'll take it. Whilst we waited for these spine breakers to breed us up an entire army, I flew up high above our base so we could admire it. All of these dinosaurs, all this work that we've put in through this entire 100 days. It's a rather satisfying moment with all these creatures of ours. Anyways, we don't really have much to do until we have our spine breaker army, so I kind of just sit here and contemplate my life. We now had our very first baby spine breaker that is well, fully grown up. I don't think they actually grow. I think they just come fully grown. So I took it on out to go fight some things so we can get some levels into it. We killed a lot of things to get these extra levels. It was fun for a little bit, and then it kind of got boring. Once we got to a high enough level, it was time to set down this. This is the Ascension Arena, and this is where we fight the endgame bosses. Yes, bosses, multiple of them. It's the early morning of day 81 and we're getting out our entire army. Basically any decent fighting dino that I had laying around inside our soul terminal. We have Glacial Gigas, Spine Breakers, and even some Conflagrant Rexes. After I got the army out, pumped a few levels into them, it was time to summon in the first boss. The first boss is the Broodmother. 291 million health points in this big beast. This was going to be a tough fight. Our army went into fight and attack, but they were dying quickly. We were plugging away fighting this fiercely, dropping all of our death bombs as quick as possible, trying to put this guy down. We got half of its health down, and then this happened. Oh crap, what the hell? Are you asleep right now? Oh no. The Broodmother deals torpor, I didn't know. Okay, say what you want. Mistakes were made, alright? I quickly jumped on my Manacore and then flew on over, only to notice that my Spinebreaker had died. And also, we couldn't get back into this arena. There was an invisible wall blocking us. At this point of the game, I really didn't know what I was supposed to do. All I could do right now is just stare at this Spinebreaker's butt while it gestates another baby. I really couldn't do much until we had another army of Spinebreakers at least. So we just had to kill some time until we had more babies, I guess. I placed down this hitching post right in front of these spine breakers so they can breed when we're out of render or if we're offline. While waiting for an army to breed up, we went to go visit some of our friends. This is Pineapples and his base. Obviously, he's made a ton of progress since the last time we checked this place out. We then checked out the Icy Cat's base, who has also made a whole ton of progress. Kind of a basic build, but she's got a lot of dinos, and that's kind of all that matters. I noticed that both of those two people had spine breakers, so if worst comes to worst, I might recruit them to help me out with some of these boss fights. Day 84, we were out minding our own business, murdering everything around us. When we saw a helpless Kraken all by its lonesome, it decided to come and party, but we're just too OP like that. This spine breaker and its death bubbles are just too dangerous against this thing. It honestly didn't stand a chance. Again, right now, we're just trying to kill some time, but I also thought it might be a good idea to go and try and tame an underwater primal that we hadn't tamed. I have been playing Ark for the longest time, since 2017, and honestly, I didn't know in Valguero it had this big underwater cave thing. Again, thanks to the Twitch chat, I was informed about this place. In case you're wondering, Spinebreaker has no oxygen level, so it can just stay down here as long as we want, and because I'm wearing the Pugnacia tech helmet, I don't need oxygen myself. I do get a little bored though, so we head on home. I didn't get the donkey that I wanted. When we arrived back though, there was a juvenile Spinebreaker just waiting for us. It's now day 85, and it's time to go fight some bosses once again. We should be ready this time, I hope. This time I've brought a much larger army with us. Basically, any one of our tough dinos that I could breed, I bred them up so we could have more dinos to fight with. Once we had all of our dinos out and set, I had to try and find the original Spinebreaker that I was riding. There were so many of them around that I kind of got lost. But now it was time to fight the Broodmother. As soon as it spawned in, I sent all of my army to go and fight this and start chomping on it. They weren't doing as much damage as I thought they would have, but they also weren't dying that quickly, which was a relief to me. Well, that was until this point. They started dying rather quickly after this, which means I just had to move around a little bit and send in the second wave of dinos. Moved around a little bit more, send in another wave whilst our screen started turning red. The Broodmother had sustained quite a bit of damage, and it was officially time for me to get involved. We had already taken down half of its health, so this is a pretty decent start for us to be able to jump in and start chomping in. But then all of our army had died, it was only us left. This really slowed things down for us. I was confident that we wouldn't die because we were stocked on our health potions and then the blue tonics as well that kept us from getting knocked out. We managed to drain the heck out of the health of this thing. Then we finally managed to kill this Broodmother. Thing is, this was just the beginning of all the boss fights. In Pugnacia, you have to fight every version of the boss. Broodmother, Megapithecus, Dragon, Manticore, and finally, the big yellow hippo. And you have to do it in order, because once we killed the Broodmother, we then used the Ascension Broodmother Fang to be able to summon in the Megapithecus. I returned back to base so I could restock my entire army since it basically all died. I hatched a crazy amount of eggs, and I think most of them grow up basically instantly, but for the ones that don't, we had to go waste some time. Whilst we waited, we went and harvested some resources. We were gone for so long that I had to put down another Ascension Arena. The Ascension Arena only stays around for a set amount of time. I think it's like 30 minutes or something. Once again, we had to get this army out, this time even bigger than the last time we were here. Knowing that the bosses are going to get tougher and tougher and we have to fight multiple of them, we need to come ready. Finally, we were ready and set to be able to fight this boss. Obviously, there was a few other dinos that we didn't get out, but I was kind of sick of throwing them out. There's so many of them around. Look how many Glacial Gigas there are. Anyways, it's time to fight the big green monkey. This big monkey was pretty brutal and deleted most of our army instantly. It was just us and this big monkey, but we were pretty persistent and had a lot of health potions. So alone, we were able to defeat this guy. I then got out the remaining dinos in our army and summoned in this black and white boss level dragon. Again, our army didn't survive very long at all. This fight took us a damn long time. We didn't even get to defeat this guy until the very end of the next day. Next, I reached in the bottom of the barrel with the dinos that I had lying around my base, brought them over, and then summoned in the big Manticore. Once again, the army that we took with us didn't last very long, but we were able to fight back. I just didn't realize 2 long death worms came out of the ground and started attacking us too. Anyways, we handled business and took this Manticore out of existence. With that, we only have one more boss that we need to kill to be able to complete this mod. But I'm kind of running a little bit low on health potions. We've mostly been getting health potions from killing things and we haven't really had to make too many of them, but you need rare flowers to be able to make them. That's why we're taming this zombie theory. I also thought this would be a good excuse to be able to tame a zombie dino. They're pretty cool after all. Anyways, we ran around the swamp harvesting a whole bunch of rare flowers. Like the craziest amount I've ever made ever. But now we were able to ridiculously stock up on these health potions, basically ensuring our victory against this big hippo. Now it's time to go and fight the big hippo. Again, I gathered a massive army for this guy. Knowing that this is basically the toughest boss we're gonna have to fight, I made sure to be as prepared as possible. It's now time to summon in the final boss, the hippo. I immediately sent in my entire army and I started chomping down. Not only does the hippo have a crazy amount of health, 700 million health in fact, it also has the ability to summon in boss dinos like the Kraken and Spinebreaker, Tempest, all of them. With this in mind, I did invite a friend along to try and help me fight this thing. Mr. Pineapples is helping us fight. We were chugging along in this fight, and if you can kind of see there's the Kraken there fighting us back as well. Even though this looked like it was going to be a long fight, it looked like we were going to win. That was until the most unluckiest thing happens when you fight the hippo. Remember, the Spinebreaker death bubble basically melts anything you're riding. Mine Spinebreaker died, but I somehow survived. I ran away to try and get myself into some sort of safe location, saw that I had another Spinebreaker on me, got it out, placed a saddle on it, but when I looked back at the hippo, I realized it had fully healed up. The hippo had summoned a bunch of other bosses. I knew I couldn't win this fight. It was time to teleport back home and then rethink of my next strategy. Somehow, I ended up at the Icy Cat's place. I think it was just a panic teleport. I needed to get out of there real quick. Now I really needed to think of a way to kill this hippo. We still have 9 days left in this challenge, so I do have the time to be able to do this. The following day, I ran over to the boss arena, and all the bosses were still in there, locked away like caged animals. Who really won this fight? Stupid animals. Anyways, I decided to recruit the help of Mr. Pineapples and the Icy Cat. Honestly, this was probably the only way we could defeat these bosses. Also, we had to wait for the last Ascension Arena to despawn so we could make another Ascension Arena. And we couldn't just go ahead and fight the hippo. We had to start from scratch all over again. Because the only way you can summon in the hippo, you need to kill the Manticore first and use whatever it drops. And obviously, we didn't have that because we had already used it to summon in the previous hippo. Meaning, we had to do this all over again. Thankfully, with the help of Pineapples and the Icy Cat, we managed to defeat all of these bosses. Up until it was time to fight the hippo boss. Again, this was no time to mess around. I wanted to make sure we had an entire army to help us out. This late in the game, I couldn't really afford losing to the hippo. I really wanted to complete this mod. Two of our friends chilling on the rock over there, our entire army, it was time to fight the hippo boss. I sent in my entire army and let them deal most of the damage to begin with. A lot of them died rather quickly. But are we really surprised? No, not at all. It was then time for all three of us on our Spinebreakers to head on in and start attacking. Right now, we're stuck in its belly dropping these death balls. We were collectively chipping away at its health, but then it dropped a Spinebreaker on us. As soon as I saw this appear, I knew we were in trouble. Oh shoot, he dropped the Spinebreaker, he dropped the Spinebreaker. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Yep, there's the death ball. Freaking hell. You see, the hippo kind of gets stuck on you and you can't really move. And with a Spinebreaker on the field, it can lead to instances like this. I'm stuck. Yep, my Spinebreaker died. Pineapples and Icy Cat were still fighting this hippo, so it wouldn't regenerate. I managed to teleport back to base, pick up a bunch of fresh baby Spinebreakers, and teleport right back into the arena. Once I arrived back in, the Spinebreaker that was there wasn't fighting us right now. So we took this opportunity to charge back in and fight. Honestly, Spinebreaker is the only problem in this situation. All the other bosses that summon in aren't really too much of an issue as long as we can heal in time. I kind of got stuck with Mr. Fister. He's a little bit hard to see, obviously, with all the numbers and stuff, and he kind of gets stuck in us so we can't move. Anyways, I sorted him out, went back into the fight, and like that, we had just defeated the hippo boss. Oh, we did it, we did it, we did it. We freaking won. We freaking beat the boss. Whew, what a relief. We had defeated the final boss, the hippo, but then I heard a weird noise come through.
You think you're done because you defeated a measly hippo? Well, come day 100, we'll put you to the test. Let's see if you can take down me and my friend. See you soon, Aaron.
Well, I think the message was pretty clear. We're going to need to get to work and start preparing for a massive battle against Mr. Miola. So with this, we spend the next few days harvesting a whole bunch of resources. We're going to need the craziest amount because obviously we're making the Pugnacia Mega Mech. And to make it, we need 3 normal mechs, and they're pretty expensive as is. With that being said, we spent the next few days just harvesting a whole lot of materials. Literally everywhere on the map that I knew there was a whole bunch of resources, like this cave full of crystal or the secret cave full of oil, we went there and harvested it completely dry. Also, since we defeated the hippo, we now have the ascension items unlocked. That's why we have the better tools. You know, like the ones that we unlocked earlier that we shouldn't have. I even started breeding some of the snails that we tamed so we could get more cementing paste that I could eventually use to turn into polymer. We harvested a whole bunch of oil, but it really wasn't enough. I had to go tame a Bassie so it could passively generate oil for us in the soul terminal. That's a whole lot of snails bred up. We're gonna get the cementing paste real quick now. Because we're kind of crunched on time, I tamed a whole bunch of Bassies as well. It's now day 99 and I finally have enough resources to make these Pugnacia mechs. But before we could combine these and turn them into the Mega Mech, I had to go put some levels into them. To get the most out of the Mega Mech, you need to have fully leveled normal mechs. Thankfully, there's a lot of dinosaurs that were willing to sacrifice their lives so we could get stronger. Once they were fully leveled up, I managed to fuse them all together and craft our very own Mega Mech. Now all I need to do is level this one up and add some attachments to it so it'll get a little bit stronger. Except we didn't get a chance to do that.
Aaron, I'm here. Are you ready?
Dude, it's only day 99. You said day 100.
I lied. You know, Australian time zones, that whole thing. Doesn't matter. Aaron, are you ready?
Surely this guy knows that I'm also in Australia, right? No way. His friend is Mecha Godzilla?
I'm coming. Eventually.
Oh my lord, he's right there. He's right there. Oh my god. No, he's right there. He's oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, he's hitting hard. Oh, he is wrecking us. Oh, he took down our shield. Oh, now's probably a good time to go get in my mech. Oh crap, I can hear him destroying absolutely everything. Miola, you're gonna pay for this, you bastard.
I just can't get up there. My secret move. You didn't see that one coming, did ya?
He's destroying everything. He's destroying everything.
Aaron, where are you?
I'm going to go get my friends, then we're coming.
Where are you, Aaron?
I'm right behind you.
Where are you, Aaron?
I'm coming.
Oh no.
Is Godzilla playing some music right now? Holy crap.
That was my victory song. That's not fair. I can't turn around. This is very cowardly of you guys.
Coming in. You gotta jump. He's running. Chase him down. Wow, he's fast. You guys are slow. Get him! Get him! I thought I was hitting hard. I'm not hitting hard.
Is that all you guys have got?
Oh!
Hey, where do you think you're going?
I'm running.
Get back here. Oh.
Running. Oh, yeah. Ah!
Let me go.
Ah! Ah, he's coming! He's coming! Help me! Oh crap! I got stuck on something in the water. Get out of my way! Ah! Ah! Oh, thank you, deep water. Oh! It span around. What is that move, dude? Oh! Oh! I'm gonna... Might be going down. I think I'm down! Oh my god, man! Go, you guys! I ejected. I am alive. You guys need to finish this off now.
You little ant.
It's getting close.
You will not stop me.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
I'm actually gonna die.
Ah!
Oh my god. I'm dead.
Oh no! It's 2 down. Miola's got 2. Lucy, it's just you.
All right, now we're talking.
Just putting on.
He's taunting you. He's taunting you, Lucy. What, Lucy? Go. Oh my god. Oh, get him, Lucy. Go.
Oh, it's gonna be close. They're both like. Lucy's almost half.
Oh no! No! Wrong button! Wrong button!
Wait, this is legitimately tight. Oh my gosh. 8 million health, 7 million?
Miola's 2 shot.
Miola's a 7. Oh my god, wait. Oh, Lucy, this is it. This is it, Lucy. That's it.
No!
Yeah, take that, sucker. Take that.
Aaron, you and your friends may have defeated me this time, Aaron. But come to Extinction City and see if you can conquer the land of the Titans and Kaiju.
There we have it, folks. Our base here is completely destroyed. And I guess we're going over to Extinction to try and find Miola in the land of Titans and Kaiju. Until next time, peace.